Good morning. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, President Shapiro. My thanks to the Chairman of the Board of Trustees, William Osborne, and Provost Dan Linzer. We've already thanked the parents today, but please don't forget to thank them again when you move back in with them. And since this is Father's Day's weekend, let's give it up for the fathers out there, shall we? Kids, do something nice for Dad today. Like, for instance, before you introduce your boyfriend, ask him to remove his tongue ring. And thanks to you, the class of 2011. You are what some have called the greatest generation. Not many, but some. So far, just me. And I'm counting on you to not make me look like an idiot by saying it. So be great, no pressure. I am humbled to be standing here on stage with today's other honorary degree recipients. William Shabbos, human rights champion who is here to investigate Northwestern for cruelly allowing you to graduate into this job market. Dr. Barbara Liskoff, the first woman to earn a PhD in computer science. And I don't know how she could concentrate surrounded by all those notoriously sexy male programmers. And of course, opera legend Jesse Norman. Though that, I'm a fan, but I have to say that's something of a disappointment. I normally start these speeches by singing Schubert's Ave Maria. But I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. Luckily, those are the only words I know. Now, as you have explained to your grandparents, my name is Stephen Colbert. But I also play a character on TV who is named Stephen Colbert, and I don't always know which one of us has been invited to speak. Well, today I am fairly confident that I am me, because I went to Northwestern University and my character went to Dartmouth. So he was there for graduation last weekend and heard Conan speak. It was a really good speech, but he was hoping it was going to be Leno. Now I am honored to be your commencement speaker on this, the 25th anniversary of my graduating class. Any fellow 1986ers out there today? Wow, we need to get more involved. I was hoping we were all going to get together later in our leg warmers and put on our Sony Walkman and listen to Wang Chung and Mr. Mister till the flock of seagulls came home. But I guess I'll be doing that alone. But as honored as I am to be here, I am also a little bit surprised to be your graduation speaker, considering that 25 years ago today, I did not actually graduate. I thought I was graduating. My family was here. We were all dressed up in this ridiculous medieval garb. By the way, I didn't realize they had Dacron in the Middle Ages. But when I went up to get my diploma, and the dean, Kathy Martin, handed me the folder, she leaned in and said, "I'm sorry." Now, I didn't know what this meant, but it did not sound good. I was hoping it was some new form of Latin honorific, like summa cum laude. I'm sorry, cum laude. But when I got back to my seat and I opened the handsome pleather folder, instead of containing an embossed diploma, there was instead a piece of paper torn from a legal pad that said, "See me, Dean Kathy Martin." This is a true story. Evidently, I had an incomplete of which I was not aware. So in my graduation photos with my family, I am holding up a scrap of yellow paper. The first person in my family to earn a yellow scrap of paper. The rest of them got diplomas. So remember, just by graduating today on your graduation day, you are starting your career way ahead of me. Be proud of that. Because Northwestern is a school to be proud of in academics, athletics, science, public service. It represents humanity at its best. And on Dillo Day, it represents humanity at its worst. Now, for you parents, Dillo Day is a festival that started in 1972 to honor the armadillo. That is the best explanation I can offer. I'm sorry. Today, evidently, armadillos are honored by drinking 4 Loko out of a super soaker while dancing to the new pornographers in a drunken mosh pit filled mostly with national merit finalists. Northwestern's alumni list is truly impressive. This university has graduated best-selling authors, Olympians, presidential candidates, Grammy winners, Peabody winners, Emmy winners, and that's just me. And I loved my time at Northwestern. I was a transfer student. Wow. I was a transfer student from a small all-male college in Virginia where I had been a philosophy major. But I decided to switch to something with stronger job prospects, theater major. Which reminds me, I forgot to warm up. Amidst the mists and fiercest frosts, with barest wrists and stoutest boasts, he thrusts his fists against the posts and still insists he sees the ghosts. Oh, what did it do to die today at a minute or two to two? A thing distinctly hard to say, but harder still to do. For there'll be to-to-two at 20-to-2, a rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat, and the dragon will come when he hears the drum in a minute or two to two today at a minute or two to two. One breath. One breath. I not only loved studying theater, I loved being a theater major. It gave me an excuse to brood publicly, to grow a beard, to wear black at people. I didn't just want to play Hamlet, I wanted to be Hamlet. But I also got a great education while I was here. Northwestern's academic resources are unparalleled. The library contains 5 million books and 100,000 periodicals, none of which anyone reads because they're not on an iPad. Next year, I believe Deering Library is being turned into a Chipotle. Now, here's an interesting fact. A recent poll among private universities found that students at Northwestern have the lowest desire to have sex. I think that is possibly because this year, Northwestern offered some truly advanced instruction in human sexuality. I saw some photos of the lab equipment, and I'm thinking you may have been scared off sex forever. It might actually have been a stealth abstinence program or a viral ad campaign for True Value hardware. Graduates, good luck explaining what I'm talking about to your grandmother at brunch. Still, that low sex drive is surprising, given that Evanston is riddled with brothels. Oh yeah, they're out there. But thankfully, this town is enforcing a century-old city ordinance that prohibits more than 3 unrelated individuals from living together, lest they reach critical mass and spontaneously prostitute themselves. I am all for this law. You cannot be too careful. In this economy, running a brothel might be the most reliable work out there. And before everybody jumps on me, I am not saying that everybody at Northwestern will become prostitutes. Obviously, the Kellogg graduates will become pimps. I am expecting big things from you people. So you have a great town, a great school, you have a great life here. Perhaps too great. Because I see evidence that since I left, Northwestern has gone soft. And don't go, oh, what's he talking about? You know exactly what I am talking about. I am talking about the snow day. You were hoping I hadn't heard about that. On Wednesday, February 2nd, 2011, Northwestern was closed because of snow. Oh no, what's that white stuff coming down from the sky in Chicago in February? I'm sorry, that is weak. Let me ask the other alumni here. You ever have classes called because it was a little brisk outside? No, because we were Wildcats when Wildcats were Wildcats. For Pete's sake, it's called Northwestern because when it was founded, this was on the edge of the Northwest Territories. The first graduating class was offered a double major in fur trapping and frostbite. My first winter here, this is a true story, you can look it up. I endured what is still the coldest day in Chicago's history, January 20th, 1985. Negative 27 degrees, negative 83 with the wind chill. Yeah, if you weren't careful, your genitals would snap off like a graham cracker. Did NU close? No, we went to class. Well, not me, I was a theater major and I didn't go to class that often, but we were supposed to. Have I mentioned I finished college with an incomplete? And we didn't have cell phones. If you made plans to meet someone in a snowstorm and they didn't show up, you just assumed they were devoured by wolves and went on with your life. And we couldn't text, and we certainly couldn't sext each other. If you wanted to send someone a picture of your private parts, you had to fax it. That's how Kinko's got its name. You had to fill out a cover letter and everything. It was embarrassing. But the clearest example of how this once great institution has failed you students, in 1986, our commencement speaker was George Shultz, Secretary of State, fourth in line to the president. You get me. Basic Cable's second most popular fake news man. At this rate, the class of 2021 will be addressed by a zoo parrot and a mortarboard that has been trained to say congratulations. But I am not here to talk about me. I am here to inspire you by talking about me. Fair warning, we are now entering the meaningful part of the speech. Those of you who already have enough meaning in their lives can go do something else. Maybe try to remember where you parked the rental car. This spring I participated in a sailing race from South Carolina halfway across the Atlantic to Bermuda. In many ways it was a beautiful journey. Stars wheeling overhead, whales breaching to starboard, which I actually think is over here. And in many other ways it was horrible. We were filthy and tired. For 7 days, none of us slept for more than 3 hours at a pop. Which, remember, is how Stalin broke his enemies and how infants break their parents. You'll find out. Now, we eventually made it to Bermuda, and after a few days there, I came back home by plane. And looking out the window, I felt completely artificial. It felt so strange to fly over the same 1,000 miles of water that we just fought our way across inch by inch. And the ease of coming back somehow made it that much harder to explain to friends what it was like out there, what was lost and what was gained on that sublime and terrible trip. And in some ways, it feels just as artificial to fly back after 25 years to try to tell you how to navigate the waters ahead. Though it's tempting to think that I can, because like many people my age, I have fantasized about traveling back in time and giving advice to my younger self. To stop young Stephen on a street corner and say, "Break up with her, you idiot. Haven't you noticed that she's nicer to the dog?" Or buy real estate. Or for God's sake, don't buy real estate. Or under no circumstances should you wear white jeans, even on a cruise. Also, don't go on a cruise. Or wear sunscreen. Having a tan looks nice now, but in 20 years your face will look like a catcher's mitt. But I doubt my younger self would even listen to me. I'm sure he'd say, "There's no way you could be me. I have a chin." Plus, young me would never respect old me. He is in the theater. I am on TV. A total sellout. So to recap so far, I am going to try to give you, who for all intents and purposes are me 25 years ago, some advice that I probably won't get right and you probably won't listen to. Ready? Let's do this thing. Okay. You have been told to follow your dreams. But what if it's a stupid dream? For instance, Stephen Colbert of 25 years ago lived at 2015 North Ridge with 2 men and 3 women in what I now know was a brothel. He dreamed of living alone, well, alone with his beard, in a large, barren loft apartment, lots of blonde wood, wearing a kimono, with a futon on the floor and a samovar of tea constantly bubbling in the background, doing Shakespeare in the street for homeless people. Today, I am a beardless suburban dad who lives in a house, wears no iron khakis, and makes Anthony Weiner jokes for a living. And I love it, because thankfully dreams can change. If we'd all stuck with our first dream, the world would be overrun with cowboys and princesses. So whatever your dream is right now, if you don't achieve it, you haven't failed, and you're not some loser. But just as importantly, and this is the part I may not get right and you may not listen to, if you do get your dream, you are not a winner. After I graduated from here, I moved down to Chicago to do improvisation. Now, there are very few rules to improv, but one of the things I was taught early on is that you are not the most important person in the scene. Everybody else is. And if everybody else is more important than you are, you will naturally pay attention to them and serve them. But the good news is you're in the scene too. So hopefully to them you're the most important person and they will serve you. No one is leading. You're all following the follower, serving the servant. You cannot win improv. And life is an improvisation. You have no idea what's going to happen next, and you are mostly just yanking ideas out of your ass as you go along. And like improv, you cannot win your life, even when it might look like you are winning. For instance, I have my own show, which I love doing, full of very talented people who are eager and ready to serve me. And that is great. But at its best, I am serving them just as hard. And together we serve a common idea, in this case the character Stephen Colbert, who it's clear isn't interested in serving anyone. And a sure sign that things are going well is that no one can remember whose ideas was whose, or who should get credit for what jokes, though naturally I get credit for them all. But if we should serve others and together serve some common goal or idea, for any one of you, what is that idea? And who are those people? In my experience, you will truly serve only what you love. Because service is love made visible. If you love friends, you will serve your friends. If you love community, you will serve your community. If you love money, you will serve your money. And if you love only yourself, you will serve only yourself, and you will have only yourself. So no winning. Instead, try to love others and serve others, and hopefully find those who will love and serve you in return. And in closing, I'd like to apologize for being predictable. Apparently, the New York Times has analyzed the hundreds of commencement speeches given so far in 2011 and found that the words love and service were 2 of the most used words. I can only hope that because of my speech today, the word brothel comes in a close third. Thank you for the honor of addressing you, and congratulations to the class of 2011.
Thank you, Stephen.